Okay, so this is episode 29 of Beowulf. So what we're going to do is I'm going to read episode 29. I will stop for discussion, to point out ideas, to mention themes, to mention characteristics and conventions, as well as to review notes. So here we go. Take your book out as I read along in my book. We are on page 86. Beowulf is going to continue the story of Freyja and Ingold that he began in episode 28. So this is a very good example of a characteristic and convention of an epic, which is the story begins in media res, or right in the middle. In seeing their ancestral armor and weapons, Ingold and his followers will be angry. And one of his soldiers, sitting with ale in his cup and bitterness heavy in his heart, will remember war and death. And while he sits and drinks, his sharp old tongue will begin to tempt some younger warrior, pushing and probing for a new war. That sword, that precious old blade over there, I think you know it, friend. Your father carried it. Fought with it the last time he could swing a sword. The Danes killed him, and many more of our men, and stripped the dead bodies, the brave, bold Danes. One of the prince's people here now might be the murderer's son, boasting about his treasure, his ancient armor, which ought to be yours by right. So what Beowulf is doing is he's giving a hypothetical. If we really do marry Freyja and Ingold to stop this war, there's going to be that underlying hatred. So a marriage essentially can't stop a war. Bitter words will work in a hot-tempered brain, pushing up thoughts of the past, and then when he can, calling his father's name, the youngster will kill some innocent Dane, a servant, and bloody sword in hand will run from the hall, knowing his way to the woods. But war will begin as he runs, to the sound of broken oaths, and its heat will dry up Ingold's heart, leave him indifferent to his Danish bride. Hrothgar may think the Hathamards love him, loving Freyja, but the friendship can't last. The vows are worthless. So Beowulf is saying that these vows were not provided because they were in love. They were provided to mend a problem that has nothing to do with marriage. So they will not last. This loyalty that was bought through this marriage will not last. But of Grendel, you need to know more to know everything. I ought to go on. So again, remember, Beowulf is talking to Hrothgar. He's telling him of the stories and what he's been doing in Denmark for so long. He's going to go back to the story of Grendel. It was early in the evening. Heaven's jewel had slid to its rest, and the jealous monster planning murder came seeking us out, stalking us as we guarded Hrothgar's hall. Honshu, sleeping in his armor, was the first feat he reached. Grendel seized him, tore him apart, swallowed him down, feet and all, as fate had decreed. A glorious young soldier killed in his prime. So Beowulf actually gives a name to that one beast that was killed when Grendel attacked, and his name is Honshu. Yet Grendel had only begun his bloody work, meant to leave us with his belly and his pouch both full, and Herod half empty. Then he tested his strength against mine, hand to hand. His pouch hung at his side, a huge bag sewn from a dragon's skin, worked with a devil's skill. It was closed by a marvelous clasp. The monster intended to take me, put me inside, save me for another meal. He was bold and strong, but once I stood on my feet, his strength was useless, and it failed him. So, I told you that Grendel really did have a man purse. You thought I was kidding, but I really wasn't. It's made of dragon skin and has a beautiful clasp, and is so big that Beowulf could fit in it. Beyond that, with our notes for episode 29, make sure you understand that Beowulf believes that if you use Freyja or Ingold as pawns to buy peace, the soldiers are going to end up being angry or jealous, and that looking at the Danes wearing their Hathamards' armor, there will be a war that's inevitable. The whole point of retelling the story of Grendel is twofold: to tell his king Higlac what he's been doing, but also for the poet who is telling the story of Beowulf to recapture or to repeat anything that someone may have missed. Okay, so there ends episode 29. Make sure you review the notes as well as the overall content.